Hey guys, what is up? It is Spooky Noodles, and I am here with a book tag. Yeah, another book tag, guys. I will do a book review soon. I have it ugh, juggling between two books. One day I feel like In the Scrape by James Newman and Mark Steensland. The next I feel like Len Ralph's Until Summer Comes Around. And then I've also been listening to an audiobook, so things have slowed down a bit. I should really just focus on one book, get the review up, then focus on the other book, but it's not how my brain works. But today we are here with a book tag. Yep, this was created by Mary McWilliams. And Mary made this horror life tag. And it's very fun. I had a fun time answering the questions. I have them all written down on my screen here. And I only wrote the answer. I didn't write much more other than that. So we'll dive into this and we'll have fun. I think I see a piece of hair, Jamesy hair, all over my hat. Anyways, let's get into this, shall we? Number 1. What is the first horror movie you remember seeing? So, I remember this clear as day. I was in the gymnasium at school, at my elementary school, and and we were just playing around when someone brings up that the new Freddy vs. Jason movie's coming out, and we're all hyped about it, but we didn't realize it was rated R, so we couldn't see it. So, like, all my class has seen Freddy vs. Jason somehow. And I haven't seen it because my mom's very strict. And she wouldn't bring me to what was I, like 8 years old? She wouldn't bring an 8-year-old to a rated R film. Are you crazy? Anyways, eventually it comes out, and a few months later, I'm at like some cousin's or friend's house or something like that. I forget who. But the parents are all in like the basement playing cards or something, and we're just sitting there with this big screen TV, and we're like, what are we gonna watch? And he's like, you want to watch the new Freddy vs. Jason movie? I was like, fuck yeah, but I didn't say that because I'm a kid, so I said like something like fudge yeah. They're like, heck yeah. So he turns on the film, and we're like halfway through the film, and I pissed my pants. I think I literally pissed my pants. I was so scared. Of course, I was really young back, really young back then, and yeah, it was a sight to see. It was a lot of fun. So, number 2, what is the first book, or what is the first horror book that you remember reading? I'm screwed up right now. What is the first horror book that you remember reading? Answer is this: Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I got all 3 books here. I haven't opened them from the wrap yet. I bought this a long time ago, but I had already had 3 of them. And so I just recently sold the 3 Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So, yeah, I'm left with this one. And it has number 1, 2, and 3 in it. Big trio. And yeah, this was my first thing I remember reading. I remember a teacher once reading from this book in elementary school. And it was awesome. It was awesome. And then he told us to write our own scary stories. So we wrote our own scary stories. Mine was about a haunted bowling alley. It sucked, but whatever. It's also one of the first stories I've ever written, so I guess I started writing at a younger age than I thought I did. But yeah, that is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, by Alvin Schwartz. Next we have the third question. What is the movie that made you a horror fan? So, going back to Freddy vs. Jason, ever since I watched that film, I was into horror films and horror anything. So, shows, horror movies. I even had a little interest in books at the time. And, yeah, Freddy vs. Jason just kickstarted my heart, you know? Everything just started from there. and I loved. I remember watching Psycho was the second horror film I've ever seen, and I had to go read the book, and I've read the book like 3 times now, and I love it so much. But that's besides the point. We're talking about Freddy vs. Jason, and yeah. Number 4. What is the book that made you a horror fan? Well, it's what got me back into horror, because obviously Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark got me into horror books. But recently I started reading 2 years ago again, hardcore, and what got me back into horror was Psycho by Robert Bloch. I don't own the book, but I did at one point. I don't know what happened to it, but yeah, Psycho by Robert Bloch was amazing. I just loved it so much. Psycho is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. One of them. I'd have to say it's like number 6 or 7 on the list. So yeah. What is your favorite horror movie of all time? Now here we go. My favorite horror movie of all time is John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, I didn't even have to look at the question or answer to know that. The Thing just is my favorite movie of all time. If you've seen it, then you know how amazing it is. It's very cosmic horror themed. I loved it a lot, and yeah, it's just my favorite movie of all time. There's not much to say about it, other than that. Alien being my second favorite, third favorite being The Fly, I think. Then Scanners. And then I have no idea. Maybe not Scanners 4th, maybe Scanners 5th. I forget what my top 5 is exactly. But throw in somewhere like Summer of '89 somewhere in there, because I recently watched that and that was great and I loved it. So, what is your favorite horror book? So this one's easy. That's Fear by Ronald Kelly. Ronald Kelly is also one of my favorite authors. I've read 2 books by him, 2.5 books by him, and I've enjoyed all his work so far up to this point. And Fear is special because it was my first Ronald Kelly book, and it's a coming-of-age story, and it's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. If you have not read Fear and you love coming-of-age horror, definitely read this book, because this book is amazing. Now, it might not be your favorite like it's my favorite, because there's a lot going on in this book. But for me, it has everything. So I just enjoy this book a lot. It's my favorite coming-of-age story of all time. And yeah. So now we are on to number 7. What's your favorite horror trope? Now, I don't know if I got the answer right, because I'm not sure what a horror trope exactly is. I know Eat Me Alive, but I think I got the answer right. I didn't look it up. I was just like, trope. What does that mean? Well, it means this. Well, I don't know. So, coming of age horror is my favorite horror. So kids going up against a monster or monsters is my favorite trope. Kids fighting monsters. Like It. Like Fear. Like The Traveling Vampire Show. Like any coming of age horror story, really. Those Below the Treehouse I read recently. They have to go against these zombie like monsters. So it was really, really cool. But that's my favorite trope in horror. And that moves us to the last question, y'all. And that is, why do you love horror? Now, I had to take a second to actually think about this. And my answer I wrote down is absolute crap. It doesn't really give you much. But I will tell you what it is anyways. Because it is an escape from the real world. And it makes me feel things I don't tend to feel in the real world. I just love reading spooky stories. So to elaborate, I don't tend to feel much, on a regular basis. And to feel worry, excitement, and all these other emotions while reading really brings out like an adrenaline rush. And I just enjoy it a lot. I don't know what else to say, honestly. It's just very enjoyable. And that brings us to the end of the book tag. Yay! I know, it was a fun book tag, a really fun book tag, and I enjoyed doing it. I wasn't tagged by anybody, so I'm not gonna tag anybody, but if you want to do this book tag, do it. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Okay, that was a quote from a horror movie. If you know what horror movie it was, comment in below. It's very obvious, but yeah. It's actually a horror comedy, is what I actually remember seeing it from. But it's in a horror movie too, so yeah. If that doesn't give it away, then I don't know what will. But yeah, those are my answers. Again, this was created by Mary McWilliams. I think I'm saying her name right. And yeah. It was a really good book tag. I'm not gonna tag anyone, like I said before. And yeah. So those are my answers. Books mentioned are Psycho by Robert Bloch, Fear by Ronald Kelly, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz. I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you have a spooky night. It's a little early in the morning, so I'm gonna go and sign off. I hope you have a good day, guys. I really want to staple that into your mind. Have a good day, guys, because it's a hard time right now, and I know it. So just peace out, guys.
Now I am become death.